Straight
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you're going to use those personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, techniques, and mentalities, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is the business show. Not show business, but the business show. And yes, there is a difference between the two. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to tell you once again, if you, or for the first time, this is your first time hearing it, that I have a daily motivation text message. Yes, a text message that I send out free of charge to everyone who's in my texting community. And if you are not part of that texting community, or you were not privy to the fact that there was a texting community, now you know. All you had to do to join it, free of charge, again, is to text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. So send a text to that number right now. Again, 305-384-6894. Join my texting community, and every day when I send that daily motivation text message out, guess what? You will be on the recipient list. I sent one out today. I sent one out yesterday. I'm sending another one out tomorrow. Doesn't matter what day it is you're watching this. As long as I'm alive, that is a true statement. So text me at that number right there. You'll be getting my daily motivation text straight to your phone. Now, today's topic, the business show. First of all, I talked about you being in show business back in episode 1547, with the topic of that episode being whoever has the best show will get the business. So now what we're going to understand here today is what is the business of putting on that show, so that you understand how to put on the show. And that show might be different than the show that you think it is. So maybe this episode kind of could have been the precursor to episode 1547, but we do things how we do things here. So now you're getting it, but you still listen to episode 1547, so you understand that putting on a show is part of your business, even if the business that you're in may not necessarily be so much lending towards putting on a show. You might do something that's not so showy. Let's say, for example, you're a math teacher or a scientist. There might be not be so much showiness to that as opposed to being a dancer or a singer or a YouTuber. But you have to figure out how to make a show out of what you're doing, simply because listen, people like to be entertained. People like things that hold their attention. So you want to make sure you have some form of show in what you're doing so that you can get the business. And today we're going to talk about how the business part of it is actually what lends you to your opportunity to put on the show. You'll understand all of this as I get into our points. I want to make sure I'm not tying you up here or even tying myself up. So what we're going to do here today, here's our intention. You're going to understand what matters most when you are an artist who puts on a show. And all of us are artists in different ways in whatever it is that you do for a living, whatever it is you do professionally, how you serve people. There's an art to doing that. There's probably a science to it. There's a system and a process to it, but there's also an art to do it. And the art part is the part where you get to make a decision, where you get to say, okay, I'm going to advise that you do this. Or you could do one of these 7 things, but as a professional, I'm going to advise you do this one, this second, and this third, and the other 4 don't do them at all. That is the art part of it, where you could have decided in a different way or in a different order, but because you're the professional and you're the artist making the decision, you made that decision. So there is an art to everything that we do, even if you're following a process, even if you are literally a scientist. So let's get into what this means. We're talking again, the topic is the business show. What I want you to understand is the business side of putting on your show. That's what this is really about, even though, for the point that I just made, everybody's putting on a show in some way. Number one, topic once again, the business show. You are in the business of generating revenue, earning income, i.e. making money. It's a phrase that most people use. You're in the business of making money. That is the purpose of you being in business. And this does not necessarily mean that you have to own a business. It doesn't mean you have to even identify as an entrepreneur. Just that if you go to work and you get paid for the work that you do at work, doesn't matter what the work is, you're in business, okay? If you're getting paid for your work, you're in business. And all of life is a business. Even if you're unemployed, you're in business. You're just not generating the kind of revenue you want right now, probably. But we are all in the business of making money. Why? Because we need money for food, clothing, shelter, and any other luxuries that we may desire. You are not in the business of doing your art. I shall repeat. You are in the business of making money. You are not in the business of doing your art. And yes, they are two distinct, different things. Your art is merely the vehicle for you to make money. That's all it is. And the reason why this matters is because anything with the word business or professional in it is more about the marketing and selling of the thing than it is about the art of the thing. Let me say that one again, because I want to make sure this is the crux of this whole conversation right here, what I just said. Anything you're doing that has the word business or professional involved in it, even if you don't say that when you say it, but if it's a professional thing, meaning there is money being exchanged and you're doing it as a business, it is more about the marketing and selling of the thing. Let me back up and say your opportunities to do it and how fruitful you're doing of the thing will be are based more on your ability to market and sell that thing more than it is based on your actual skill at doing the thing. This is a very, very, very important point, especially for all you artists out there, especially for all of you out there who are you're married to your artistry. You love doing the thing that you do, whether you love making videos for your YouTube or your TikTok, you love writing articles, you love putting out whatever material you put out, you love serving the people who you serve, however it is that you serve them, you love doing those things. Understand, your ability to market and sell your ability to serve, your ability to market and sell the videos that you edited, your ability to market and sell the writing that you do will determine how fruitful and how plentiful the return on investment is from all the time, effort, energy, and attention that you put into doing the thing. You follow what I'm saying here? And we're going to talk more about this, but I'm giving you the crux right up front. And this is what I want you to have marinating on your mind as I give you more supporting information and evidence and proof for you to understand this and more perspectives for you to look at this from. It's more about the marketing and selling than it is about the art. Have you ever seen or heard a famous singer and you listen to their music, or you know that they were famous, or you see that they are becoming famous, or they've become famous, and you listen to them sing and you're like, this person is really not that great of a vocalist? You ever seen that? I've heard many people say that. Now, I personally am not enough of a music expert to listen to somebody sing and know if they're a good singer or a bad singer, at least the people who are known and they're being recorded in the studio. But I've heard of many singers who are very well known with big names who have ostensibly sold a lot of records, but they have critics who say, well, this person is not even that good of a singer. This person's vocals are not even that good. They can't really carry a tune that well, but they are a very famous singer. So I'm sure any of you who's big into the critique of vocalists, you probably have some people who are coming to mind right now. Has any of you read a book by a famous author, and then you read the book, and the material in the book wasn't really that great, wasn't really that groundbreaking? They weren't really saying anything new or different from what you already knew or what you'd already heard? I've read a few that fit that description. Has any of you ever heard a speaker, someone giving a speech on the stage, and they had a lot of credibility behind their name, their biography made them look like this superstar, and you are really expecting like this person must be amazing with all these great things that they've accomplished, and then you listen to them talk and their material was actually pretty basic? Has any of you seen that? I have seen that, and I'm sure between these three example questions that I'm asking, I'm sure everybody has raised their hand or nodded their head at least one of these. Somebody whose name and fame and recognition seemed outsized compared to your assessment of their ability to perform the skill / do the art. I think we've all seen this at different points. And maybe, hey, let's be honest, many of us maybe have had people look at us and say, all right, well, people talked about him or her, we're referring to you here, as if they were so great, but I saw them and somebody might have thought about you and said, no, they were okay. They weren't terrible, but they weren't like groundbreaking. They weren't like spectacular. They were okay. They weren't amazing. There may be people who said the exact same thing about you. And here's the point. Let me explain to you why these people exist. I already told you, I'm going to tell you again, is that these people, these famous individuals who are so well known in their space, even though by your accounts they aren't even that great, it is because they're really good at marketing and selling their art, even though they may not be so great at the art itself. And if you can understand this point, you can understand exactly what you're going to need to know and exactly what you're going to need to do to sell more of your stuff. It is not necessarily about you being so great at the thing. It's about being great at selling the thing. Now, you want to be great at the thing too, and I'll explain why in a moment. But selling the thing is the thing that gets you in the room. That's what gets you in the door, and that's also what puts money in your pocket. And again, you are in the business of selling the thing, as I just told you. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the business show. Not show business, but the business show. I was listening to Snoop Dogg, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Maybe, I don't know when this was, probably months ago. But Joe puts out a lot of episodes, and they're so long. I watch them in bits and pieces. So I'll listen to an hour or so of an episode, then I'll catch up on the rest of it a week later and stuff like that. So actually, as I'm recording, I'm still in the process of listening to Snoop Dogg on the Joe Rogan podcast. But there's something that Snoop said somewhere in this interview. It was like 3 hours long, but something in this interview, Snoop said the following. He said, many people come into, and everybody knows who Snoop Dogg is, right? A rapper. Snoop Dogg's probably 50, 60 years old, but he's been in the rap industry for like 3 decades. He might be the longest tenured active rapper. Actually, I think we take the word might out of it. I think Snoop Dogg is the longest tenured active rapper who is still putting out music in existence alive today when I'm recording this in 2022. But Snoop said that many people come into the music industry wanting to do the show, right? They want to do the stuff, like they want to make their art, they want to make music, they want to rap, sing, play guitar, whatever it is that the musician is doing. And they only learn about the business side of things later on. And Snoop said he is guilty of that as well, that he came into the rap game. You know, he made some songs with a producer by the name of Dr. Dre, who many of you probably know about, not me, but the other Dre. And he became really famous. He's making a lot of money. A lot of people knew his name. Snoop Dogg was an instant hit when he first came out. I remember when Snoop first came out. He was an instant hit, and he wasn't really thinking about the business side of things until probably a decade into his career. And he was saying that and it was a part of a bigger, again, it's a 3-hour conversation him and Joe Rogan are having, but part of a bigger point that he was making, and this is the point that I'm going to articulate differently from how Snoop said it, and here's the point here, is that you want to learn the business side of things much earlier than Snoop did. You don't want to be 10 years into your career and then realize, I need to learn the business side of what I'm doing here. You want to learn the business side of things up front while at the same time still being good at your show. Because listen, I don't care how good of a salesperson you are. You take somebody like Snoop Dogg. Snoop's a pretty good salesperson of his stuff. That's why he's all over the place. He's doing shows with Martha Stewart. He's being a color commentator on boxing, celebrity boxing matches. He's still doing his music. He's appearing on shows like Joe Rogan. Snoop Dogg's all over the place. He has all kind of endorsement deals with products that have nothing to do with anything that Snoop raps about. But it works for him because he's a pretty good marketer and seller of himself. But at the same time, if none of his music was good at all, if he couldn't make any good music and he wasn't good at rapping in any way, shape, or form, even though rapping is art and not everybody has to like Snoop for him to still be good at it, if he didn't have any fans and he couldn't satisfy any consumers with his music, he wouldn't have been around for 3 decades the way that he has. So again, I'm not discounting the ability to do the art, to do the show, but understand it's the business that has kept him around for as long as it's kept him around, at least in a way that he can have some control and have some say over his career. So what I'm telling you is learn the business as quickly as possible, i.e. today. All right, now is the best time to do anything because now is the only time we have. Past is already gone, future you don't know. But now is a good time to start learning the business of what you're doing. The more business you are involved in, and the more business you're capable of consummating, and when I say that, what I mean is actually creating an exchange. You offer someone something, they give you something for it. They accept your offer, they give you something, you get something. Usually on one side of that equation is money. The more business you're able to consummate, the more exchanges you can create, the more space you will have to do your art. All right, so whatever your art is, if your art is you like making silly videos to go on TikTok, okay, create more business, i.e. make more money so that you have more breathing room to do what you want to do, which is doing your art. Maybe it's the art that is leading to the money. If that's the case, then sometimes you might need to do some art that is not necessarily your passion, but it will pay the bills. And this is sometimes the compromise that you need to make the money. Now, maybe you might need to make just small tweaks to your main art in order for it to be more marketable, meaning more ability to sell, meaning it can produce a higher ROI in terms of money for you so that you can do your art, have the freedom to do your art and make money for yourself at the same time. So the more business you do, the more free you become, because now you have the space to do what you want to do. You have the breathing room financially, revenue wise, to do what you want to do for yourself. Now, here's the thing. If you don't want to do the business, let's say, because there are some people out here who really don't want to do the business side of things. They just want to do their art. They love the art. They don't like the fact that business gets involved in it. It feels less pure. It feels less genuine. They feel like they had to sell out. Some people say this. They feel like they have to sell out their art in order to make a buck, and they don't really like that. Or they got into it to do the art, but then when they realized the business side of it, it just didn't feel as pure as it was when they first started, when they were just doing it for the love. Now they feel like they're doing it for the money, and it almost becomes a job. I understand some of you feel this way. So I have a answer for you as well, if you're one of those people. If you do not want to do the business side of things, you just want to do the art, that is 100% okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you just want to do the art. Now, if you're calling yourself an entrepreneur and you just want to do the art side, there's something wrong with that idea. There's nothing wrong with you as a person, but there is something wrong with that idea because those are in conflict. But here's what you do. All right, and you just need to figure out or get some help as to how to structure this. But you can just do your art on the side and don't make it your full-time business. That's completely okay. I've known plenty of people, and there are probably more people who do it this way than do it the full-time way. And people who do something which might not have anything to do with their art that allows them to do business, i.e. to make money, to pay their bills, and provide themselves and whoever else they're responsible for food, clothing, and shelter. They do something. It doesn't have to have anything to do with their painting pictures or making music or making TikToks and YouTube videos and podcasting. And they do that full time. Some people might have a full-time job or career. Some people may have a business that pays the bills, but then they have another thing they do that is their art, that is their expression. And you can do the art and expression thing on the side of the full-time thing that pays the bills. There's nothing wrong with that if that's the way you want to do it. What I want you to be clear about, and the reason why we're talking about this here today, is I want you to be clear on which one are you doing? Like, what game are you in? Do you want to take your art and make a business out of it? Because when you do, then there may be some adjustments that need to be made to make sure that your art is actually marketable and is producing business. But if you just want to do your art, you just want to do it your way, and you don't want to have to worry about or concern yourself with how is this going to make me money, that is fine. Do that on the side of doing something else that will take care of your food, clothing, and shelter needs as an adult. This is 100% okay. Do it on the side. Don't make it your full-time business. But if you are of the group who wants to make your art into your full-time business, meaning the way that you serve people, the way that you help people, your ideas, the things that you want to put out into the world, your podcasting, your YouTubing, your music, whatever it is, your art, your books, whatever. If you want to make it your full-time business, understand you are getting into the sales and marketing industry of the thing. That's the industry that you're in. When you're a full-time entrepreneur, you are in the sales and marketing business, whether you want to be or not. And the thing that you're selling in marketing is X. And you swap out X with whatever your art is. Singing, rapping, dancing, TikToking, YouTubing, podcasting, etc. Whatever else you're doing. Making apps, hacking, whatever it is that you do. You're in the business of marketing and selling that thing. Now, for some people, this makes the entire ordeal a lot less fun because they're just not into the business side, or maybe because they've been doing it for a while and they're not getting kind of results that they want from the business side of doing things. Just understand that might happen, it might not. You're gonna have to get in the game to find out, but this is the game that you are getting into, and I want to make sure that there is no ignorance about that once you step into this realm, because that is what you're in. Point number 3, today's topic once again is the business show, not show business, the business show. Number 3. Do not make the mistake of looking at other people's shows and then comparing their show to your show, and then kind of asking yourself internally, who's better? Well, I'm better than that person because my show does this and their show does that, or they do their show this way and I do mine this way. So you're of the opinion that yours might be better or something might be wrong with theirs. Here's the point. That is not really what the game is about. Even though, again, a lot of people who are more artists in their mind tend to think that's what it's about. That's not what it's really about. Because there are some people who will be worse than you, at least by your estimation, maybe by your friends' estimations, hey, maybe even by critical estimations. There are some people who are not as good at the art/show as you are. However, they are generating more revenue to you. They're doing more marketing and selling to you. They have more customers and clients than you. They are doing more business than you. They are bringing more money home on the bottom line than you are, even though you are objectively, not really objectively, but subjectively better than they are, quote unquote. And there are some people, that's going to happen. All right. Now, everybody clear on that? There will be people who you're better than, at least by what you think, who are making more money than you. There will also be people who are better than you who are making less than you. People who maybe they're better at podcasting than you. They're a better speaker than you. They're a better singer or dancer or rapper or TikToker or Instagrammer than you are, but you're making more money than them. How do you explain this? Well, I already explained it to you. You're in the marketing and selling business. You are not in the blank business. Blank being the thing that you actually do in order to make the money. Some people will be better and make less. Some people will be worse and make more. Yes, it is about the show. Yes, you must have the art. You must have the ability. But remember that business is not about the art. Business is about the money. So that's why you need to understand what the game is. I told you in episode 1210, don't complain, play the game. There's a reason why I refer back to that episode so many times here on the show, because that is the crux of understanding the game that you're in. A lot of people, especially in anything that involves money, seem to not understand what game they're in. And they become upset and emotionally unhinged when they are looking around. They see other people who are not as good at the art as them, but are making more money than them. And they're like, well, I'm better at the art than them. How are they making more money than me? It's because you're not in the business of the art. You're in the business of making money. And if you don't understand how to make money and you don't understand what game you're in, of course you're not going to do good at it. Usually when we're successful at things is because we're intentional and conscious about them. I shall repeat. Usually when we are successful at things is because we are intentional and conscious about them. We do not become and remain successful at something for an extended period of time by accident. So if you are not conscious about the fact that you're in the business of selling and marketing, then you probably won't do good at selling and marketing for an extended period of time. You might do good at selling and marketing for little gaps, and then you get quiet again, then you go up again and down again. That can happen by sheer luck, good luck and bad luck. But if you want to be good at it for a continual, consistent period of time, you have to be intentional about it. Same thing with being in shape. Same thing with keeping great relationships. Same thing with anything you do in life. You have to be conscious about it, at least until it becomes habitual. This is really what my book, The Third Day, is all about. If you have not yet claimed your free copy of this book, I'm holding it up right here. Go to thirddaybook.com. The link is down below in the show notes. The book is free. All you're going to do is cover the shipping. So understand business is about generating the money. And often, if we're being honest here, and we're always being honest here, often people don't know how good your show/art is until after they paid you for it. People don't know how good your book is until they buy it, right? They got to buy it first to read the book. Then they'll find out if you're actually a good writer. They have to sign up to come to the conference that you're speaking at to find out if you're actually a good speaker. So look at others to learn. When you see other people who are doing the business, look at them to learn how are they doing the business. What are these people doing that is actually generating sales for them? What are they doing to actually market themselves? Borrow some of that stuff. All right? Don't worry about comparing your skill to their skill, because that's not really what the game is about. Even though many people would have you believe that it is not. Look at how they're marketing and selling themselves and borrow that. That will be worth more for you than borrowing their actual skill of the art. Then do your business with the things that you borrow from them. If they're doing something that's working, because something they're doing is working, if they're marketing and selling, then use that generated business, i.e. the money, to free you up to do more of your show, whatever your show happens to be. This is the formula that you're going to follow. All that being said, recapping today's class, which is the business show, the opposite of show business, but the business show. Understanding what matters most when you're an artist. Number one, you're in the business of making money. This is it. You are not in the business of doing your art. Your art is merely the vehicle that you utilize for making money. If you leave this industry, this art, you're still going to be in the business of making money. You're just going to have a different way of doing it. But we're all in that same business. This matters because anything that has the word business or professional in it is more about the marketing and selling of the skill than it is about the art of performing the skill. All right, this is why people who might not even be that great at what they do, at least by your opinion, are still making money from it, because they're good at marketing and selling themselves, even if they're not great at doing the thing. Point number two. I heard Snoop Dogg say this to Joe Rogan. Many people come into a business wanting to do the art. They want to bake their cakes. They want to make their posts. They want to rap their music, and they only learn about the business side of things later. I'm suggesting that you flip that around. Snoop was saying this as well. Flip that around and learn the business side now, and then learn more about the art part later. Doesn't mean that art doesn't matter. Art does matter, but the business side is what gets you in the room. And as soon as you can make your business start working, you have to sell and market. Or when you want to make your business start working, you got to sell and market the thing. This can make it less fun for anyone who's not really into the business side of things. If that is you, then do your art on the side and do something else for business that is more steady, more consistent, and maybe you don't have to have all the responsibility, so that you don't ruin how you feel about your art in your mind because you're trying to make a business out of it and it just doesn't fit your makeup. And this is not for everybody. Point number 3, don't look at other people's shows and compare your show to theirs for who's better, because again, you're not in the business of whose show is better. You're in the business of who's better at marketing and selling their show. Now, if you both market and sell yourselves, then you can compare shows. But even at that point, it doesn't really matter, because you still are trying to market and sell to get your opportunity to show your show. Some people will be worse than you and make more money. Some people will be better than you and make less money. And the reason for that is everything that I've said here so far today. The business is about making the money. And people usually won't know how good you are anyway until after they have already paid for it. So you're not in the game of performance. You don't get paid based on how well somebody thought your performance was. You get paid before you even get a chance to perform. If you really think about that, then this should make a whole lot of sense to you that maybe you weren't thinking about before. So when you see someone who is doing better than you business-wise, borrow some of their marketing and selling techniques. If you can figure out what they are, use those to do more business for yourself, and that will free you up to do more of your art. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation text every single day straight to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And when you're ready to go to the next level, any of you who is serious about making a business out of your art, if you're already making a business out of your art, but you want to do more business, better business, more consistent business, you want a strategy for your business, you want a support group for your business, you want some real talk, no fluff, no BS conversation for your business, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We have group and individual options where you can work with me directly. That is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.